If you're in the thick of divorce or separation, feeling that mix of overwhelm, uncertainty, and sleepless nights, worrying about your kids' future, wondering how to secure emotional closure without endless arguments, you're exactly where you need to be. Welcome to the Soft Landing Divorce Podcast, where we show that even amid the chaos of ending a marriage, you can step forward with dignity, clarity, and real peace. What sets us apart? Ken and Sarah dive into the game-changing strategies the divorce industry keeps under wraps. Ones that save you time, money, and heartache, but pros rarely mention. No matter if you're just contemplating separation or knee-deep in it, we're here to guide you and your family to a softer landing. So brew that coffee, settle in, and join Ken and Sarah as they uncover what could change everything for you. Let's get started.
So, I got something super cool for you today. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Soft Landing Divorce Podcast. I'm Ken, and we're doing a deep dive into something that's been, kind of eating at me lately. We're talking about understanding the dual nature of divorce, the emotional and legal aspects, and how to secure emotional closure without endless arguments, even if your kid's future keeps you up at night.
Oh man, Ken, this is exactly the stuff that gets me fired up. I'm Sarah Bates, certified divorce specialist and founder of Naked Divorce Filer by DTSW. I've been in family law for over a decade, and honestly, most people have no clue they're dealing with two completely different divorces happening at the same time.
Wait, two divorces? What do you mean by that? I thought divorce was just, the legal stuff.
Right? So that's the thing everyone gets wrong. There's the legal divorce. That's your paperwork, your court dates, all that business transaction stuff. But then there's this whole other emotional divorce that's happening, and it usually starts way before anyone even files those papers. Studies show that emotional separation from the marriage often begins long before the legal paperwork gets filed.
Huh. That's wild. So you're saying people are emotionally divorcing while they're still legally married?
Exactly. And here's where it gets super messy. Imagine trying to make critical legal decisions while you're stuck in this cycle of grief or anger. It's basically a recipe for your legal costs to go through the roof and for court battles to drag on forever.
Mm-hmm. So how do you separate these two things? Because it sounds like they're happening at the same time.
Okay, so first off, and this is super important, you got to accept that both sides are totally valid. You're going to go through both, often simultaneously. But the key is maintaining what I call emotional reserve during legal proceedings. When you let your emotions drive your legal decisions, man, that's when everything goes sideways.
Can you give me an example of that? What does that look like when emotions take over?
Oh, absolutely. So let's say someone's in the anger stage, which we'll talk about in a minute, and they make decisions out of spite. They'll fight over the coffee maker or demand ridiculous custody arrangements just to stick it to their ex. Those unnecessary legal battles, they don't just prolong the divorce process, they jack up legal fees like crazy.
Right. So you mentioned stages. Walk me through what those emotional stages actually look like.
So there are 5 main stages, and honestly, they're kind of like the stages of grief. First one's denial. That's where you're like, this can't be happening, or they'll come back. It's just a phase. People are emotionally unprepared to face reality during this stage.
And this happens before the legal stuff starts?
Usually, yeah. Then after denial fades, and it does fade, anger sets in. This is where people feel betrayed, abandoned. They're asking stuff like, how could they do this to me after so many years? Or what about the kids? And Ken, this anger stage, it's absolutely pivotal because it can lead to totally irrational decisions if you don't manage it right.
So what happens if you don't manage it? What does that anger look like in the legal process?
It spills over into your legal strategy. Instead of focusing on fair outcomes, people start fighting over every tiny detail, lashing out at their spouse through their lawyer. It's it's like using the court system as a weapon, and that gets expensive fast.
Yeah, okay, so after anger, what's next?
Bargaining. This is where you're willing to do anything, and I mean anything, to salvage the relationship. You're promising to change, offering counseling, hoping your partner will reconsider. But here's the thing, if your partner has already emotionally checked out, bargaining actually pushes them further away.
Oh, that's rough. So you're trying to fix something that's already broken?
Exactly. And while this stage is totally natural, it's essential to focus on healing yourself rather than trying to fix what's already done. Then comes depression. And honestly, this is where many people get completely stuck.
What does that look like? The depression stage?
Overwhelming sadness, grief, this deep loss of purpose. People isolate themselves, lose interest in daily activities, feel hopeless. Depression and anxiety often go hand in hand here, and it's so tempting to just neglect everything, both your emotional and legal responsibilities.
So you're saying people might miss court dates or not turn in paperwork because they're too depressed?
It happens more than you'd think. That's why having support during this stage is absolutely vital. You've still got legal responsibilities, court hearings, providing documents, making decisions about asset division and child custody. But you're also dealing with this emotional recovery that's just as important.
And then acceptance, that's the final stage?
Right. Acceptance is when you finally come to terms with the fact that the relationship is over. You've done the emotional work, you're ready to move forward. There's often this sense of relief that comes with it. And here's something interesting. This is often when your former spouse reaches out to reconnect, but by now you've grown so much that you might not even be interested anymore.
Seriously? They come back right when you're finally over it?
It's like clockwork, but at that point, you're ready to rebuild. You're creating new goals, finding new passions, pursuing this bright, fulfilling future.
So how do you actually keep these two divorces separate? Because it sounds impossible when you're going through all this emotional stuff.
It does seem impossible, but it's actually the smartest way to navigate divorce. You treat the legal side like a business transaction, and I know that sounds cold, but hear me out. This requires emotional disconnection during legal proceedings, which helps minimize conflict and reduce legal costs.
But you're not saying ignore your emotions completely, right?
Oh no, absolutely not. You need to do the emotional work to heal, that's crucial. But that healing should happen outside of legal proceedings. When you let emotions guide your legal actions, you end up making costly mistakes, fighting over assets or custody issues out of spite.
Mm-hmm. So this is where divorce coaches come in?
Exactly. See, many family lawyers suggest treating divorce purely as a legal transaction, but that advice totally overlooks the emotional complexity. A certified divorce coach understands both sides and helps you balance them effectively.
What does that actually look like? Like, what does a divorce coach do differently?
So they provide emotional support while ensuring you approach the legal aspects with a clear head. Whether you're in denial, anger, or depression, they help you manage those emotions so they don't influence your legal decisions. They might teach mindfulness techniques, suggest physical activities for emotional detachment from anger, or connect you with mediators to keep everything smooth and cost-effective.
That sounds actually really helpful, especially for people who are, worried about their kids' futures and can't sleep at night because of it.
Oh, absolutely. That's where the whole securing emotional closure without endless arguments piece comes in. When you're managing both sides properly, you can reach a fair, equitable outcome while preserving your emotional well-being and, honestly, protecting your kids from unnecessary drama.
So to everyone listening, have you ever thought about divorce this way, like as two separate processes happening at the same time?
Most people haven't, and that's totally normal. But once you understand that emotional divorce often precedes legal proceedings, and that keeping emotions separate from legal decisions prevents costly mistakes, it's like this light bulb moment.
Let's talk about some key takeaways here. What are the most important things people should remember?
First off, accept that both the emotional and legal sides are authentic and valid. You can't just ignore one. Second, emotional healing is crucial for effective legal decision making. And third, this is big, poor emotional management can absolutely escalate your legal costs.
Right. And mediation can help with those emotional tensions during legal disputes?
Definitely, mediation keeps things collaborative rather than adversarial. It's like the difference between working together to solve a problem versus going to war.
Yeah, cool. So as we wrap things up, this whole concept of a smart divorce, it's really about balancing emotional healing with rational legal decisions.
You've hit the nail on the head. A smart divorce recognizes that this is a complex emotional journey, not just a legal transaction, but you can navigate it successfully with proper support.
Can you see how this plays out in your own experience, like for anyone going through this process right now?
The thing is, divorce is demanding. There's no sugarcoating that. But when you recognize the importance of managing your emotions while making sound legal decisions, you can actually move toward a brighter, more fulfilling future.
And on that note, here's my final question for everyone listening. What might you do differently now that you understand the dual nature of divorce, both the emotional and legal aspects? How might this shift your perspective moving forward?
That's such a powerful question, Ken. I think once people understand they're dealing with two separate but connected processes, they can start making choices that serve their long-term well-being instead of just reacting to immediate emotions.
Stay curious, keep those questions coming. Until next time, keep moving forward. Thanks for joining us on the Soft Landing Divorce Podcast.
And that's a wrap on today's episode. We've unpacked how divorce doesn't have to be as complicated, costly, or drawn out as the industry often makes it seem. You have more choices than you've been told, and more strength than you may realize. Remember, divorce isn't merely legal. It's a deeply emotional journey, too. And that's why we're here to guide you through both sides with compassion and real strategies. If this conversation sparked something in you, here's what we'd love. Subscribe to the Soft Landing Divorce Podcast so you catch every insight that could reshape your family's future. Leave a review, it helps others in the thick of it discover us. And if someone you know is navigating separation, share this episode. It's a simple way to remind them they're not alone, and there's a gentler path ahead. Grab our resources, show notes, and links in the description. We're building a community that knows divorce doesn't have to shatter families. Join us. Hit subscribe. We've got more game-changing talks coming your way. Until next time, keep aiming for that soft landing. You've got this, and we've got you. That's Ken and Sarah, signing off. Disclaimer. The information provided in this podcast is intended for general informational purposes only and does not constitute legal advice. For legal guidance specific to your situation, please consult a qualified legal professional in your jurisdiction.